What's up, everybody? How you doing? Sammy, United People's TV. Here to kick off another show. Here to give you the latest United news, as we always do, every Monday to Friday at 10 a.m. Plenty to run through today. We're going to be speaking about a little bit on Senny Lammens, a little bit on Benjamin Šeško, Rooney's comments on Šeško, Schmeichel's comments on Lammens. And I'll tell you what, my lunchtime video today is going to be about Senny. And I just want to speak about the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United. Probably a little bit more than I want to speak about his performance against Sunderland. But it's probably why that performance had a little bit more impact on United fans than maybe it sort of usually would, I suppose. A big focus of today's show is going to be on the academy. Yesterday, we had confirmation that Luke Fedorenko is going to be leaving United's academy. Who is he? What was his job? Is it bad that he's leaving? I'd explain all of that. We're also going to be speaking through quite a detailed article from Laurie Whitwell this morning from The Athletic on the sort of behind-the-scenes state of United's academy, and in more particular focus on the actual academy building, where the under-21s and the under-18s facilities are, and the concerns are out them. I'll be honest, there are some concerns. I'll be honest. And yeah, I'll be reading through your comments, as I always do, and it should hopefully be an enjoyable show. As I said, we're not a crisis club this international break, so let's enjoy some conversations, rather than the sort of the battles that we've had, right? Good morning to everybody. Can I just say, that is incredible. Dean, Gungshi, JC, Manny, and Alex, United People's TV 5-side team there, all gifting memberships this morning, totaling 40 between you. All of you. Right now, and I know I've said this so, can I just say one thing here? When it comes to gifted memberships and when it comes to being a member of United People's TV, something that I've been really conscious of for a long time, and this is why my big job behind the scenes, I'm working on changing this, and I promise you I'm doing this right now. I've been really aware that being a member of United People's TV is great, and it's your way of supporting the community and allowing me to keep investing into it, and that's incredible in itself. But I've been really super aware that I don't think that the memberships give you enough back in terms of extra stuff, and that's what we're building behind the scenes. Kind of switching up what the memberships mean, switching up the extra stuff that we're doing behind the scenes. The arms is definitely coming back for Liverpool. That's going to be for members. First one probably won't be for members only. It'll be for everybody. But the arms I know I can do. Q&As we've dropped in and out of Q&As, but trust me, there's a big thing I'm trying to launch for the end of the year, which really will transform what memberships do for everybody. I promise. I can see Garlic Bread Man gifting 10 and Toby. 2 subs for the 5-a-side. 7-a-side team now. I always found 7-a-side was the best sized goal when I was a kid. When I first started playing footy, how old was I? 9? 10? Well, not first started playing footy, but first time I can probably remember playing in a team. You're like 11-a-side goals. You're like, what am I doing here? If you just got a shot on target at that age, it was going in. Because a keeper can cover about 4% of the goal at that age. That's why I always like the 7-a-side goals. Let's say hello to everybody this morning. JC, Steph, you're there as well. Carl, Gungshi, Alex, and plenty of mods out here. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully keeping it civil in the chat. Not always. Foxy, good morning to you. We've got Freddie, we've got Willem, we've got Garlic Bread Man, we've got Gilly, we've got Josh, you're there as well. We've got Gamindir, we've got Manny, Grandad Rob, and some non-members too. We've got Dalron, we've got Mr. Moisey. What are you doing, Mr. Moisey? Fair play to Grealish at Everton, by the way. Doesn't he? Is this Captain Hindsight saying this? Maybe, maybe not. But at Aston Villa and Everton, like Jack Grealish, sort of like big fish, small pond sort of thing. Best player at a club that isn't quite at that top level, and then he's just absolutely shining. He's having a great time. I'm really happy for him. Jack Grealish seems like just a genuinely normal guy. Now, can I ruin all of your mornings? Yeah, why not? That's Cameron Borthwick-Jackson, the academy player who made his debut under Louis van Gaal. My bad. I saw this photo. I immediately felt old, so I had to do it to all of you. Not apologising. Damn. He's signed on to play in the Ballers League. You know, the what would you call it? Streamers League? Anyway, he's playing in that. Dude looks older than me. Anyway, I just had to do that to you, all right? That's Borthwick-Jackson these days. Sorry. Someone that Bobby's saying, don't even know this guy. If I remember correctly, Cameron Borthwick-Jackson made his debut for United away at Anfield. Was it Luke Shaw who got him? Probably was Luke Shaw. Was it Tellez? I can't even remember. Jeez, you're really going back now. Tellez, you remember him? Alexander Butner. We're going through a who's who of like random left backs who have played for United now. But one of them got injured away at Anfield in like the first 15 minutes. He came on, made his debut. It was actually quite good. Anyway, had to ruin your morning because it ruined me. Right. And I also want to say, like, I did this video yesterday on Gary Neville's comments on pundits and the impact that pundits have on Manchester United's players. Now, I don't know whether this was like a misinterpretation from Neville. I don't know whether it was the question that was posed to him by whoever asked him I can't remember who sits next to him in the commentary box. But Ruben Amorim wasn't exactly using the scrutiny from pundits as the excuse as to why Manchester United are how Manchester United are. I think he was just merely pointing out that the players listen. Like, it has an impact on these players. And like Gary went double in on like it's an excuse mentality and this and that. And as I covered it in the video yesterday. I think it's really quite ignorant, I'll be honest, from Gary to basically say, oh, what we did back in our day, why can't you do that now? Which is kind of how Roy Keane talks a lot of the time. You can see like a repeating, and it's because half. So this is always the issue. Half of you agrees with what they say, but then the other half of you understands that just times are different now. Manchester United is different now. Football is different. Society is different. So what worked then will not work now. It seems like a clear and obvious thing to understand, but I don't know. Gus, you're asking why former players act bad with United. I don't want to sweet talk us, but at least support your team. And you were saying, remember this, by the way. If we go back to when Gary Neville first went into punditry, it's exactly what Gary Neville was, and we all loved him for it. But the longer that you are in punditry, and this is what I always say, on this channel, like, you'll see me supporting players, supporting managers, probably, definitely, maybe longer than most of average fans would. And I won't ever change that position. It's just always going to be my natural position as a Manchester United fan with the Manchester United platform that we've got here. But if you're a pundit and you're on TV and you've got to somehow toe the line with every single club at the exact same time. You've got to sit on the fence permanently. Gary Neville was a red when he started, and then it kind of got washed out of him. And that's what you've got to be if you're in that sort of mainstream, top-level TV position. You have to try and present yourself as impartial versus everybody. OG Neville was great. Don't really enjoy him as much now. And Dope Man is saying, if you're in a position with a high platform, bad-mouthing other clubs and managers isn't right. It's like, to be a pundit, you have to be honest, I suppose. Is it maybe honesty? I don't know what I exactly put it down to. Anyway, right. We spoke about it yesterday. We don't speak about that today. Let's move on. I want to say a congratulations here to Diego Leon, who has got a senior call-up to Paraguay's international team. So he's gone away. He's been playing with, I think, the under-20s. And he's got a call-up to the senior team. And Paraguay, I believe, have qualified for the World Cup for the first time in 16 years. So that's an exciting pathway for him in terms of his own development, joining Manchester United, getting a senior call-up to Paraguay, and hopefully for him, at the end of the season, going to the World Cup with Paraguay. So I've already done a sort of what's happening with Diego Leon video. We'll bring you an update on that. There's a couple more that we're going to be doing as well at some point. I'll do one on Harry and Mass at Sheffield Wednesday. Probably we'll do one a little bit later in the season as well on Toby Collier at West Brom. Certainly do one on Radek Vitek as well at Bristol City. But I'm going to let those lads sort of play a little bit longer before we go and have a quick look at how they've been getting on. Maybe in a month or two. That's good news for him. Diego Leon, he's very much settling in at Manchester United, which shouldn't be too much of a surprise. He came in bolshy and confident. Remember what he was saying in the pre-season? I'm going to play so good that they can't possibly not play me in the first team. He played well in the pre-season tour, and then he went back into the development teams. He's certainly got the natural physical attributes, but every time I've watched him, he's looked like a winger rather than a left-back. That's his natural attacking instinct. It's kind of quite normal. And if you look at some of the best modern fullbacks, a lot of them are converted wingers. So we'll see how he develops. Bob was down there saying, well, should we loan out anybody? Well, the loans are done. This is a random thing for me to ask. No, I suppose you can't actually, can you? It's obvious because the transfer window's closed. I was saying, can you loan people outside of the transfer window? We can't because then the other clubs can't register them. So no, not really. Don't think so. Yeah, Vitek is playing very well at Bristol City. Any news about Heaven? Not at this particular moment in time. Yeah, that photo of Diego Leon walking alongside Sesko and Xerxes did crack me up. Right, let's speak about this lad. Okay, we'll have a little conversation about the impact of Lammens and also Šeško and Rooney and Schmeichel's comments before we go in and we have like a deeper conversation about the academy. Can I just say one thing here? I keep seeing it in the live chat. I keep seeing it on the comments. Sam, for the love of God, pronounce his name right. Ladies and gents, just because you don't know how to pronounce it, it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. From the mouth of Sene Lammens himself.
How do you pronounce your name?
Sene Lammens.
Sene Lammens. Now, you might be getting it wrong. You might be getting offended that you get that. Sam, why on earth are you pronouncing it like that? Because he's actually told us that's how you pronounce his name. So one more time.
Sene Lammens.
How do you pronounce your name?
Sene Lammens.
You might not like the fact that that's how you pronounce his name, but that's how you pronounce his name. Sene Lammens. All right? No lemons. Sene Lammens. All right? One more time. Everyone say it at the same time. Sene Lammens. I just keep seeing comments saying, oh, God, Sam, for the love of God, can you pronounce his name right? Just because you haven't gone and listened to the video of him saying his own name. Anyway, that cracked me up. So, I don't pronounce it as lemons. Sene Lammens. All right? Do you want to do that every time? Sene Lammens. Should I just call him Sene? 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 How do you pronounce his first name? Focus on his...
Sene.
Sene? Not Sene. Sene. It's funny. So it's Sene, not Sene. And it's Lammens, not lemons. So Sene Lemons it is. All right, there you go. Anyway, just wanted to run through these comments here from Schmeichel on Sene's performance. Right? He was speaking of BBC Sport. I'll run through this and I'll pull up the video in the lunchtime video of what Schmeichel says here. Because when I played, I think it was the same for Van der Sar. We had to save the team 10 points this season, not give them away. That's what we've gotten used to in the last couple of years. Goalkeepers giving goals and points away. So it was nice to see a clean sheet and a really good and solid goalkeeping performance. And that's exactly what I want to discuss in the lunchtime video. Jack, give me It's pronounced Lahmens. Lammens. No, it's not. I've just literally had a video of... Come on, people. I think the thing I find so funny about it is how confident people are at saying things, or just how confident people are at typing stuff out that's just straight up wrong. And then having like the stones to press enter and send it. But I think that's what cracks me up so much and why I sort of speak about it. What Schmeichel said there about United fans have just got so used to, over these last couple of years, of just like having goalkeepers who just throw the ball in their own net. And when we went into this summer, I remember speaking about the strategy, what I'd like to happen this summer, and where I think United can create a team that gets more points. And it really was... It was obvious, really. There's two clear ways that United just immediately get more points next season. 1, concede less goals. 2, score more goals. And I think that's why that game against Sunderland in particular sort of stood out, for exactly that reason. I don't think that Lammens was particularly tested. I think Xhaka had one shot, didn't he? That was a pretty comfortable save. He could have made a couple of situations less comfortable for himself by like spilling catches that he went to, take. So in that sense, he took those situations away from Sunderland. And right towards the end, when he came and sort of spread himself, the shot was towards him, but he closed down the ball quite quickly. That's what I want to speak about in my lunchtime video, is that there was nothing groundbreaking in that performance from Senna. And bloody, I'm thinking about his name every single time now. Someone down there saying, "This, I'm Belgian and this is cracking me up." Why couldn't you be called Dave? Be easy, wouldn't it? Anyway, I want to save the conversation, a little bit more conversation, for what I'm saying in the lunchtime video. Alex, yeah, Anfield's going to be, but geez, Anfield will be the test. Actually, thought we played quite well there last year. Did it end 2-2 last year? I thought it did. Can't remember who scored the second goal. Martinez scored first, and we went 1-0 up. How did that game go? I need to quickly look at that. I swear it was 2-2. Oh, Ahmed. I just forgot how that game went. Martinez scored first. 7 minutes later, Gakpo got an equaliser. Then Salah got a pen. And then Ahmed got the equaliser in the 80th minute. Well, I can't exactly watch those highlights because that will get slapped down. But that's pretty much as good as we've played at Anfield since we won there, right? I'd say so. Danny saying, sometimes I don't like to look at previous years. We've got a completely new attack and they're not very good defensively and susceptible to counter-attacks, I think you meant there. Look, it's definitely the right time. We've gone to Anfield at horrendous times before. The only time I've been to Anfield was when I went under Ten Hag, and I remember everybody going, "Sam, what are you doing? Why on earth are you going there?" That was really at the point where it seemed really quite bad for Ten Hag. And I think, he wasn't actually man of the match, but I remember Varane having an incredible game. Ended up being 0-0. That was one where Diogo Dalot got sent off by, what's his face, Michael Oliver, for like a mad yellow card towards the end. Oh, man, that Maguire missed chance against Liverpool. Now you're reminding me, man. Now you're reminding me. Anyway, that will be his next biggest test. As it will be for this man, right? As I said, we'll have a little conversation about Šeško now. That is how you pronounce his name. Was anybody going to have a go at me for that one as well? Don't know. Get it in the comments. And you're saying, you're telling me now we're going to be winning this. I mean, if we do win, this lad's probably going to be scoring, right? Now, Wayne Rooney was having a conversation about him. Well, actually, no. First things first. Player of the Week nomination for Šeško. And I think this is kind of what I said in my match reaction, or at least a day after. I was like, I think a lot of the focus is going to be on Lammens and the fact that he played so well in his debut. And I think he actually got the official man of the match. But I came out of it going, I'm not sure. Was Šeško, was he actually the better performer? I think you could argue. I think the fact that we can have conversations about both of them. But Wayne Rooney was speaking about him. He said this. He goes, I think he's a handful, uses his body well. He challenges for balls, makes it easier for Mbeumo and Cunha when he's on, or Mount, to make runs in behind. So I think that's clearly something they've worked on. And obviously getting another goal, I think, will help him. Now, later in the week, we're going to be doing a video on Šeško. And it's basically going to be a little bit of a follow-on from the profile that we did. Because one particular, this wasn't rocket science to pull out, but it's good that we've seen an example of it in real time in a Manchester United shirt now. So I'd like to follow up on it. Because we spoke about not only the qualities of Šeško, right, which we all know now, but this being a big part of it. The fact that United, when it came to the amount of times over these last few years where we've just like pulled our own pants down trying to play the ball out from the back. And any time that we've tried to get past that front press from the opposition team, we've not been able to do it because we've gone direct towards Højlund and the ball's not stuck. The ball just comes straight back. That's something that very much changed against Sunderland. The ball stuck to Šeško. He actually held the ball up. On more than one occasion, the ball went up to him and we had possession off the back of it. And I think that's kind of what Rooney's pointing out there. And again, this is something that I want to sort of follow up on from the profile video and saying, look, we can see the real example here of how important this is going to be to United. And in particular, if we're talking about Anfield, like this right here is going to be key. You know what's going to happen at Anfield. They're going to be on us. They're going to swarm us. They're going to pressure us. So Senna finding Šeško, like Steve, who's part of the team in the background, United People's TV, he was making a good point yesterday. He said, as long as Šeško can stay away from Van Dijk, then United are going to have a massive outlet like the whole game. Like if Šeško just kind of drifts a little bit wide and kind of sticks on one of the fullbacks. So who's that? Kirkes? It's easy. Just drifts out wide there, and then Senna tries to find him there. He'll be able to control it and bring others into play, and United will be able to move up the pitch like 40 yards. Simply by having his distribution and Šeško getting on the end of it. And I'll speak about that in a little bit more of a preview. Mr. Moon saying Van Dijk is slow. You can talk about him being slow. You can talk about his lovely little move he did. Oh, do you want to score a goal? Oh. Man, the internet is brutal sometimes. But when it's brutal towards other teams, I enjoy it. I suppose that's why everyone's enjoyed watching United be so crap for so long. Manny saying his first touch isn't shabby either. Hey, look, he's impressed me, man. And I think, you know how many times that we've spoken about, Both of these lads. 1 second here. We've spoken about Lammens. We've spoken about Šeško. Wish they played earlier. Why hasn't he made his debut? Why is he not starting? Why is he doing this? Why is he doing that? Would Senna have enjoyed a stronger debut if it wasn't against Sunderland at Old Trafford? Would he have had the best footing? Because first impressions, you cannot underestimate the power of first impressions. They don't mean everything, because Anthony scored on his debut for United against Arsenal, right? So they're not everything. But because Senna was allowed to wait until Sunderland, it gave him the perfect platform for that debut, which he took advantage of. Šeško, is that his second Premier League? No, third Premier League start. Second or third? I think his first was City, wasn't it? And the second was Chelsea. And the third here. I think so. Can't quite remember. No, he started against Brentford as well. How many games has he started? Don't know. Richard's saying, how far away are we from having a very good team? Unfortunately, Rich, it feels like we're quite a way off that. You know full well the holes that we've got in midfield. But if you look at... I'm really excited to watch the development and the season that Lammens has and Šeško has. Because the early signs from both are good. Right? Are really good. Steve, you're talking about Salah, you're talking about Anfield, saying the pressure is on him to chase back. Dude, Salah doesn't chase back. Salah will never chase back. That is just a fundamental part of his game. Liverpool will always allow him the ultimate freedom to stay in attack because of how good his numbers are going forward. That should mean that down Liverpool's right-hand side, so who's going to play down our left? When you think about that, who's going to play down our left? Our right-hand side is our biggest threat. It's going to be Ahmad. It's going to be Mbeumo, Will, Ruben Amorim. That's going to be interesting to see when you think about it. Will Ruben play Ahmad and Mbeumo down that right-hand side? Or will he try and shore it up maybe by playing Delo there? I don't really think that playing Delo there shores things up, if I'm being totally honest. Or will he play Mazraoui there? Because Mazraoui will probably be fit again. Don't know. But you've got Dorgu down that left-hand side. He was left out of the team for Delo. Man, it better not be Delo playing left. Delo playing left wing-back just gives me, I don't know, just pain. Really does. Anyway, internationals are happening. Ahmad's out with Ivory Coast. Cunha's out with Brazil. And there's, as I said, Dorgu himself. What's your take on Dorgu now? Sort of like how he's been playing this season. I think it feels like Dorgu's been getting himself in a lot of good positions. And it's still that final delivery which is eluding him. Like, why do you think, just as a question, why do you think Amorim chose Delo ahead of Dorgu for the game against Sunderland? What do you think was the logic of that? Was it to be a little bit better defensively? I don't think it could possibly have been to give United more in attack because, I mean, it may well have been the bloody throw-ons. It might have been. I mean, it worked. The throw-on half contributed to one of the goals we scored. So that's a hell of a reason to play a fullback down. Let me see what you're saying down here. Joe, you're saying it's not the finished article, but it's promising. Jamlek, you're saying he's maturing. Sig, you're saying I like him, he gives it all. Mikey's saying I like him, he needs to work on his crossing, but he's got massive potential. Dorgu's got the physicality in the position, but bad technique, says Gus. Kagotso saying he's a good find, he's got to improve the end product. And you're saying he's excellent threat, quick and strong, but he's young and lacks that experience. I hope he starts against Liverpool. I'd much rather have him at left wing back than Delo. Who else could possibly play left wing back? Even Delo's out of position at left wing back. Madison, you could technically throw in there to play first game for United in 2 years at Anfield. That's never going to happen. Sydney going saying, when do you think we'll see Leon get his first start? I'll be honest, dude, I'm not particularly expecting it this season. I just don't think it's going to happen. I suppose you could play Luke Shaw at left wing back as well, technically. But then Luke Shaw's never going to be able to cover the space backwards. Like, but people are coming at me saying Diego Leon, like Diego Leon's not going to be starting for Manchester United anytime soon. Diego Leon is very much in the same category as Sekou Kone was when he joined. Sekou Kone had a year to develop inside the academy system, like kind of in the background. Mazraoui could potentially play left wing back. I think it's Dorgu. I think it should be Dorgu as well. I don't really think we'll see Malacia in the team. Just a personal opinion there. But look, let's move on now because I want to have a quick, I want to have a decent conversation about United's academy. There's two things that have happened. Well, two articles that have come out. One that's a bit of news and one that's kind of an overall conversation about United's academy. I'll be honest, there's some real concerns in this, and I'll explain them here. If you don't know who that is Stephen Torpey. He is United's new head of academy because there's been substantial change. We've had a video prepared on the academy, which is not quite recorded yet, and I'm glad we haven't because there's actually a lot more information coming out now. Stephen Torpey has replaced Nick Cox as our head of academy. Nick Cox has done a stellar job for the last 10 years, 10 years, something like that. Big reason why our academy's had the turnaround it has had. He's left and joined Everton as technical director. Stephen Torpey, we got him in for Brentford. He's now our head of academy. And on top of that, we've got this news, right? This came out last night from Andy Mitten saying that United's head of academy recruitment, Luke Fedorenko, is leaving the club. And United wanted to keep him, but effectively he's got a job offer from a major agency and he's leaving the club. A little bit more info on that from the article itself, right? United's head of academy recruitment, Luke Fedorenko, will leave the club having accepted an offer to work for a major footballing agency. He's been at the club since 2017 and has been a key figure in academy recruitment for 9 years and helped shape the club's youth development. Now, if you want to read the article, make sure you go and subscribe to The Athletic. There's lots more information in that. But that's another big exit from our academy. So that is, number one, our head of academy, Nick Cox, leaving. Going to Everton, good luck to him. Number two, Luke Fedorenko, our head of academy recruitment, is leaving as well. Having been at the club for what? Since 2017. 8 years. So that's two faces who have been here for the best part of a decade. And then on top of that, you had Adam Lawrence, who left. He came through I think he was managing the under-16s or something like that. Before he went to become under-18s manager. Was under-18s for a couple of years, won the treble. And kind of really annoyingly, he moved to Newcastle to become their under-21s manager. I just didn't think... Felt like a little bit of a sideways move. Maybe not. But I suppose Travis Binion is our under-21s coach. We wasn't going to get that spot. And if Eddie Howe goes, there is a potential chance that Newcastle could put him in as an interim manager. Maybe that's part of his process and thought process. But Luke Fedorenko's leaving. And then I want to speak about this, right? So, of course, this is Carrington. The new Carrington. And much needed. We've needed it for years and years and years. And it's a big plus to the first team. But this from Laurie Whitwell gives us a little bit more insight into the shortfalls of the construction and the thought process behind this building. All right, so give me a few minutes. I'll run through some key points from this and then we can have a chat. Okay, he's talking about the academy teams here. Let's sort of look. For those on the cusp of breaking into senior football, the conditions are in a state of flux because the under-21s and the under-18s are set to be housed in temporary cabins in the players' car park as no plans were made for their inclusion in the revamped complex. You can see down there. Effectively, what happened was they created, was it 2 dressing rooms? There you go. the under-18s and the under-21s aren't involved, or they don't have dedicated spaces in the new Carrington. You can see down there. Instead, they included 2 dressing rooms set aside for emerging talent, holding 10 spots between them, and you can see which names have been included to train over the last few weeks. Look, Shay Lacey, Jim Thwaites, Tyler Fletcher, Nagwashi, Dan Armour. When those players go in, they train with the first team. They get to sit and eat and drink with the first team, and they get to socialise with the first team. But other than that, and I didn't realise this, because I'm learning this at the same time as you are, the under-21s and the under-18s are separate. Now, that's not because... And this is where I want to know sort of... And you've mentioned it down there. Like, part of this here was a lot of staff were brought from Old Trafford to here, a lot of office staff. And the concept of that was to make a more unified working environment for those who work for Manchester United, whether that's a social team, whether that's, I don't really know. Anybody else who works in the admin side of Manchester United, I'm sure there's bloody hundreds of them. A lot of them got working space in the new Carrington, and that probably reduced the amount of space. All of this here is kind of part of this down here, right? So, the Athletic can reveal that United, they do intend to build a bespoke academy structure of matching calibre and style to the first team facility on the same site. Effectively, what they're saying is that they were going to do this, but they wanted to wait until Steve Torpey was in, who's the new head of academy, before they sort of pushed forward with these plans. But for the time being, the under-18s and the under-21s are kind of in a little bit of a state of limbo. They're now training in their facilities are the same facilities that the women's team had to use when the men's team, remember that? Men's team, Carrington was getting refurbished, so the men's team moved into the new women's facilities. The women's moved into temporary cabins for a year. Didn't look good. That wasn't good optics either. And then when the new Carrington was built, the men moved back in. The women moved back into their new facility. And now the under-18s and under-21s are going to be having the same sort of experience that the women's team had to have for a year. No project timeline on this yet. I just wanted to get your opinion on this, because there's something else I'll run through in a little bit in terms of maybe this is kind of why Wayne Rooney was speaking how he was about being worried about the lads. I think the idea that, to go back to this bit here, right? The idea that there were no plans made for the inclusion of the under-21s and the under-18s in the new Carrington is a bit of like, oh, that's just concerning. Maybe it's a space issue. I mean, it probably is a space issue. I mean, it's good, as I said, going down here. No, wrong one. The fact that they intend to build a structure specifically for the academy, a new one to match the new Carrington. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be good for the under-18s or 21s for the next couple of years. I have no idea on the timeline of this, by the way. No idea. See what we're saying down here. Nick, you're saying it should be an incentive to enjoy the big boys' facilities, not an entitlement. And part of me thought that, Nick. So that's why I thought this part of the article was important, right? City's Etihad campus offers state-of-the-art facilities for the club's emerging talent on the same footprint as the first team, and that's an approach that is mirrored by Liverpool at their new, Kirkby training base. Because my instinct was thinking that as well. Like this idea that if you're training and you're a younger player, the fact that if you're impression, you get the opportunity to train with them, then that makes sense. But then if you look at and this is something that annoys me, man, if I'm honest, the fact that I'm even doing this. we always led the way with academy development, to the point where other clubs would look at United and go, how are United doing it? We need to do what United are doing. And it very much feels like the shoe's on the other foot in that sense. Like we're catching up with what others are doing. Okay, what's City doing? Like, what are Liverpool doing? Well, we need to do what they're doing. And especially with the academy teams. As I said, I'm going to read some of your comments out here. What would you rather do? Spend less money on the main team to include the under 18s or 21s, or pour money into the main? It probably kind of feels like that has been part of the thought process, really. The same with the women's team, same with everything else. Like it's been a pure focus on the first team first. Darren saying it means the plan was for the academy to have their own facilities. There's no sort of was this always the plan? Maybe this was always the plan. But yeah, going further into this article, and I've seen this is obviously, you can see why, like, you see Centre Devils, you see all the aggregators. Like, this is the only bit of information they're going to be taking from this full article, because this is the inflammatory stuff. This is the stuff that's going to be getting everyone going, oh, embarrassing this and embarrassing, because a lot of this is bloody embarrassing, I'll be honest. It's sort of a little bit more detail on sort of the cost cutting that's going on behind the scenes, talking about the academy building, which dates back to 2002 and had a refurbished in 2017. Allegations that toilets had been left unclean, bins unemptied, and pitch perimeters worn and littered. This bit down here, those who wear club tracksuits, including academy coaches and first team analysts, now have to wash their own kit. I mean, I find that quite funny, but it's not funny because it's United. And that bit down here about the embarrassing episode involving United under 13s. United didn't have enough socks and shorts, so asked to borrow some, and it meant that United players wore kit bearing Everton's crest. And this episode was attributed to forgetfulness. When it comes to the results of United's academy right now, the results are good, right? Under 18s and under 21s, under Travis Binion and Darren Fletcher, collectively they've won 11 out of 12 games. I believe they're both top of their leagues. So the players are playing well. I suppose, what would I be concerned about? I think I'm concerned that there's such a kind of a big turnaround going on again with the academy. As I said, new head of academy, new head of academy recruitment now, new under 18s coach in Darren Fletcher. They're three massive, massive changes. And under 18s is where I would say our biggest crop of talent is right now. Obviously, JJ Gabriel, we'll speak about him in a little bit. I'm concerned about that. I'm not particularly concerned about the coaching and the development per se. Well, maybe I'm a little bit concerned about that. Yeah, where do you... My question to you, right? My question to you is, where do you stand on the confidence in United's academy in terms of developing those players, in terms of being able to bring the best players in? Because if you're now playing in a temporary facility for the next, I don't know how many years, for the under 18s and 21s, is that something that's going to put United? Is that something that's going to make United's recruitment in the future more difficult? But what do you say down here? Right, Russell, that is socking indeed. 10 points for the dad joke. Carl is saying the shake-up is moving in waves through the whole club. I don't think the academy needed shaking up. Luke Fedorenko, United didn't want him to leave, but he's got a job offer somewhere else and he's taking it. Nick Cox, I think that one was an obvious, and maybe it is, but like when it comes to like academy talent, and I'm talking about staff here, kind of invariably, if you get someone in the academy who's very, very good at what he does, he's going to get headhunted. He will get job offers elsewhere, and that's kind of part and parcel of it. Stevie saying, I'm concerned that all the recruitment teams seem to be going in the Americas and African and Asian countries. Where is the homegrown talent being scouted? I wouldn't say I'm concerned about that at all. You're talking about one Paraguayan lad that we've signed. And who else we get? Diego Leon. Completely forgotten now. Mind blank. Sekou Kone in. Was it from Mali we got Sekou Kone? You're talking about 1 or 2 or 3 here. Like, you're not talking about the scholars that come through. Like, a lot of the homegrown talent will be players that come in at a much younger age than 18, and they grow through your academy from being a younger player until they reach the point of being 18. So I wouldn't say I'm concerned about that whatsoever. What I don't get is how, despite such great performances from our under-18s, Amram still insists the academy needs to improve. My own interpretation of that is Amram wants the pathway from the academy to the first team improved. Because that pathway still, it's just so distant. I don't particularly think that's just it's not a United problem, but just the gap between academy football and senior football, it feels like it's as wide as it's ever been. Now, imagine if you go to Portugal, the gap between academies and the top league is not as significant to the point where younger players can just kind of break through and break in and they go, ooh, I feel at home now. Whereas in the Premier League, kids get eaten alive most of the time. Alex saying, aren't those attention to detail things the types of things Ineos Sport prides themselves on? I don't know. You can call it, what? Marginal gains if you want. But like, there's no point building something really, really shiny over here and going, well, look, this is great. I mean, you've got like 4 things like burning over there. I'm not saying the academy's burning, but you kind of get the analogy I'm trying to get at. You have to do everything everywhere all at once. Great film, by the way. Didn't think I was going to like that film. 10 out of 10. But yeah, this is just, I'm concerned. Definitely I'm concerned about some of this. I'm not saying that it's awful and it's terrible, like, because it's not. Steve Torpey's got a transitional job on his hands. Coming in as a new head of academy at this time with the changes that have gone on to try and continue the success that we've had. And of course, there's one player that I think a lot of United fans are talking about. Mate, this kid's just turned 15. Mate, what was I doing when I was 15? I was celebrating like one chin pube in the mirror. I was like, I've got one. That's about as far as my talent went at 15. This lad has, I think, scored 6 goals in 8 games for the under 18s. I don't know. Under 18s top of the league, and he's having a cracking time. Really playing well under Fletcher. Now, suggestion from Stephen Rowson from the Manchester Evening News is that he's been offered a box at the new Old Trafford. There were conversations about how Omar Barada stepped in and Jason Wilcox to try and make sure that he stayed at the club, and he did stay at the club. Yeah, and I think that is what Manchester United is right now. Transitional Manchester United. Transitioning at sort of every level. The first team, I don't need to tell you about the problems that the first team's got. We already know all about them. But the academy is one thing that I've always had confidence in. I've always felt that the academy's been a little bit immune to how bad the first team has been. Now, results-wise, the academy still has been immune. But with so much change, as I said, new academy director, now we're going to have to get a new head of recruitment in. We've got a new under-18s coach in. They're going to have new training facilities separately. There's just the dynamics of the academy are shifting a little bit. And whether or not we make a success of it is probably going to be largely down to this man here, Stephen Torpey. He's going to have to navigate this and make sure he brings United out the other side stronger and better. Don't know how he does that, but that's his job. What are we saying down here? Cut the mustard. I'm worried about the opportunities for the academy players. It seems to be going backward with the likes of Mainu, Obi, and Garnacho. I'm definitely going to be doing a video, by the way, on Chido Obi as well. Sort of what's happening. Because from where he went last season, he's gone back into the academy team. So what's being said? Johnny's saying this is funny as well. They offer him this. They wouldn't have had to do this if they improved the facilities and also the transition from academy to senior team. I don't think the difficulties in the transition from academy to senior teams is a Manchester United problem. I think it's like everything else at United, it's always heightened. The scrutiny, the pressure, everything at United is bigger. And that's what happens when you're one of the biggest clubs in the world. But this is just I think it's a Premier League problem, not just United. But I suppose it is a lot more United because of who we are. It really is. Someone down there, Sieg, saying that Mainu is a big concern. I've been concerned about Mainu for a while. It's just clear that Ruben Amorim... I don't even think it's a lack of trust. Mainu's going out on loan in January, peeps. I don't know where, but Mainu's going out on loan. And I think if Mainu doesn't go out on loan, and this is the thing I said I was most fearful of when it came to the Mainu situation. Mainu loves United, wants to be at United. I fear that that love gets damaged if he doesn't get given a loan spell in January. Because he wants to be at the World Cup. He doesn't want to... The only chance he's really got of playing in the World Cup is if he has a solid loan spell elsewhere and gets pulled into the team. And I think if we don't give him that opportunity, because as it stands, he's not playing enough for his own development. Whether you think he deserves more opportunity, that's not really the point I'm trying to say. I'm saying for a player who wants to get into the World Cup, he's not playing enough. And the only way he's got a chance of playing in the World Cup is if he plays more. And as it stands, he's not going to get that at Manchester United. So if it continues between now and January with the same sort of levels and opportunities that he's getting, I would prefer that Man United loaned him out somewhere. No buy option. No anything option. Straight up, 6-month loan. Let him play. Maybe Napoli will be perfect. I don't know. Somewhere that he can play senior football and then get into the World Cup squad and then come back to United in the summer, and maybe after Bruno leaves, then he's coming straight back in. But I have a fear that Mainu's love for United will be tainted, or Mainu's desire to play for United will be tainted if this goes on for the full year. That's what I think. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up today. As I said, it was quite a big conversation about the academy today. I think there's definitely stuff to be concerned about, and Stephen Torpey's got a big old job in his hands. We'll probably, I don't know when we're going to release our maybe like a half-season review of the academy, because there's lots already to speak about, right? Ronnie, not that Ronnie. Maybe it's you, Ronnie. I know Mainu personally. He is going to Napoli, but it'll be a transfer. Ronnie said it first. You've heard it here. Inside news. Oh, can I just say this before I wrap up? I received this in the post. How do you pronounce this? Is it Ferman? Fermanar? Fermania? No, that's Nemanja. Fermanar. Anyway, it's from a supporters club, right? I want to read the letter that came with it as well. It goes, "Hi, Sam. Just sending a ticket from one of our functions. We had Kevin Moran over, and it was such a good night. We're still going onwards and upwards. Your YouTube is the only one worth watching. Thanks. Eamon. P.S. I think the first live event should be in Manchester. Or maybe Fermania? Fermanar? Ferman. Anyway, big up to you, Colin. No, not Colin. Eamon. For sending this in. And we'll get this on the wall." And why can't we just have Daves and Bristols and Steves? Much easier to pronounce. Anyway, that's a cool thing. So thank you for sending that into the PO box. I'll go on the wall. Right? I think it's Fermanar? Fermanor. Fermanor. What is it with me in pronunciation? Anyway, Eamon, thank you for sending that in. And take it easy, everybody. I'll be here tomorrow. And make sure you check out the video on Sene Lommens at lunchtime. Schmeichel.